everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea, and in today's video I'm going to show you some of the books that I got over the last few months. This is something that got inspired by a lot of my friends, a lot of the booktube I've been watching, but also just kind of finding things in the wild and things I'm interested in. So we have a few categories here. I was gonna film a few separate book hauls, but I just don't, I feel like one is good enough. So I have vintage sci-fi. I have some that are just kind of weird and around my vibe for what I am generally like. Then I have a big pile of paperbacks from hell. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's referring to horror from the 70s, 80s, and maybe even early 90s. A term especially coined by Hendrix, where he published the book Paperbacks from Hell. And I'll link my review of that book somewhere. This isn't even all of the things. I'm leaving some for other videos, but I think the reason I felt compelled to take a lot of these is because they're hard to find. So yeah. Okay, so let's start with the Paperbacks from Hell. Yeah. Okay, let's do that one first. So for this one I have The Magic Cottage by James Herbert. I know his work The Rats was mentioned in Paperbacks from Hell. A couple that finds a quaint cottage and thinks it's nice, but it's not. It's horror. Really excited about this one. I'm excited about all of them. The Witching by Chet Hagen. And this says the old man had been brutally murdered. That much was clear. But when Sheriff Stauffer began his straightforward by-the-book investigation, he never imagined that the case would lead into something strange and twisting in the ways of the supernatural. And the cover is spectacular for this one. Then I have Hellfire by John Saul. This I found for like $1 and I couldn't walk away. It looks so cool. And it's definitely a paperback from hell, right? It says, pity the dead, for 100 years stood the old mill silent, with dead secrets. People of Westover, Massachusetts, remember and whisper of that fateful day when the horrifying flames claimed 11 innocent lives. So this will be fun. Then I've been feeling very cultish. Been following a lot of culty things and seeing a lot of ads for cults and weird tales. So I was like, you know what? I would like to read a good cult book. And everywhere I looked, the recommended book was The Ceremonies by T.E.D. Klein. And I found this paperback copy. It's a bit chunky, but I really do want to read it. And it looks really cool. It has some pretty neat illustrations. So this might be picked up sooner rather than later. Another one that I got that's totally got that paperback from hell vibe is called The Tomb by F. Paul Wilson. And it says, halfway around the world, an evil is emerging from eons of darkness, hungry for human flesh, released to burnt by a demonic power beyond time, beyond reason, beyond even memory. So this has got a very vampiric sort of zombie rising from the tomb vibe. I hope. I don't know. I haven't read it, but I will. This one has a funny story because I saw it at one of my favorite bookstores and I took a picture of it because it's so pretty. It's called The Guardians, The Vampires of the Fenestre, or Finestri by Peter Saxton. And I didn't pick it up because it said 4. And I was like, well, I haven't read the other 3. I don't really know what it's about. But it had such a mesmerizing cover. And then I read the Paperbacks from Hell book. And don't you know it? It's right there. This exact copy. And I thought, wow, like, I should have picked it up. This looks really cool and maybe I can read them out of order. And I looked it up online and I was horrified. This book is worth hundreds of dollars in online spaces, but at the bookstore where I found it, it was very cheap and very affordable. So when I went back and I saw it, it was still there. I got it just for the sake of having this beautiful cover in my house. And I am gonna read it. Because it's paperback from hell. My laundry's done. This book got recommended to me by someone in the comments section of my book on Gwen and Green and eco horror. And this is called Finishing Touches by Thomas Tessier. And it is a paperback from hell. This is the actual Valancourt reprint. It's not an original from that time period. But it sounds pretty cool and it's got some sort of sexual tension and sorcery. You can tell by the cover, it's a little saucy. I'm really excited. This is gonna be fun. Another one that got my attention is called Worms and this is by James R. Montague. I don't know if anyone's read this. Please let me know if it's any good. It's very short, so it's feeling novella-ish. I might pick this up when I'm in between other books because it sounds creepy and fun. And the last one that is 100% a paperback from hell is Necroscope by Brian Lumley. I've been looking for this for a while, actually. And if I like this, I'll go on to book 2. There's a bunch. But yeah, it was nice to find this cover. I've been looking for this one specifically. I did find this anthology called The Weird Gathering and Other Tales from the Enchanted World of Dark Legends. And this is an anthology. First of all, I'm gonna put a bigger picture of it on the screen because you need to see this cover. It's spectacular. But it features stories that are about weird and creepy witches / women. Authors are a mixed bag, and I think a lot of them are more English-British. But here are some of the subtitles. Witches, Covens, and Sabbaths, The Solitary Sorceress, Water Spirits and the Demonic Power of Women, Diabolical Fairies and Romantic Spirit, American Natural Passions, Shrews, Vixens, and the Villainous Women. I don't know, it sounds kind of fun, and it's introducing me to a lot of new authors, so I'm excited. Okay, so this I got for my Egyptomania / detective fun, and the editor is Mike Ashley, who's one of my favorite editors. And this is called The Mammoth Book of Egyptian Whodunits. And I think it's just excerpts of little stories that are Egypt inspired. So we have Elizabeth Peters does the introduction, and then we have, yeah, a lot of short stories by a bunch of people. Suzanne Frank, Mary Reed, Kate Ellis, a lot of new people to me. I think this is one that I'm gonna dip in and out. I don't think I'm doing a cover to cover all in one go. I found 2 smaller Lovecrafts from Del Rey, The Lurking Fear and Other Stories, and The Doom That Came to Sarnath and Other Stories. I have The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath and something else. Oh, Charles Dexter Ward. And this edition. So I found these in a store for very cheap and I got them right away. They're pretty hard to find sometimes. And you might be wondering, like, don't I already have the big omnibus of the Necronomicon and Eldritch Tales? And I do, and I love those books very much. But it is a pain to carry those around town. I read a lot on my commutes, and hauling the Necronomicon around is a pain. So I prefer to have them in smaller chunks for when I'm reading and traveling with them. Yeah, I think over time, as I've grown, I've kind of stopped purchasing a lot of annotated works and omnibus collected works kind of things. Like even the whodunits feels a little bit chunky for what it is. So I'm gonna be a bit more careful going forward. And yes, there will be a book buying ban coming up very soon because this is ridiculous. I need to catch up a little bit. Now, one I got for my own spirit is called Fast Ships, Black Sails. These are short stories. It's an anthology collected by Jeff and Ann Vandermeer, so I know it's gonna be good and weird. And it's all about pirates. And it's got a lot of SFF writers, so we're looking at people like Carrie Vaughn, Michael Moorcock, Catherine Sparrow, a lot of new people that I haven't heard from, then Garth Nix, Naomi Novik. Yeah, really fun. I love a good pirate story, as you might know. Oh, then I got some, I found the Philip K. Dick book that I haven't seen before. Man whose teeth were all exactly alike. And again, we have a good skeleton on the cover. I've never seen this anywhere. In all honesty, I did grab this one because it's a first paperback edition from 1984 and it's got a really cool cover. It's easy to find in other formats, but I haven't seen it in this format, so I got it. And since we're talking about rare books, I did get another Arkham book. Soon I'm gonna have an Arkham Collections video because it's something that I've been accidentally acquiring. But this I got sort of by accident. I threw my name in a bidding war for this one. It's the Deep Waters, and this is from Arkham House, and it's William Hope Hodgson. And you know I love William Hope Hodgson very, very much. And when I saw this, I thought, come on, let's just give it a go. Let's see what happens. And then somebody else won, and they dropped out. And then it went to me, and I got it. So Hodgson and I are meant to be. Okay, so I got 4 books by Clifford D. Simak. I'm hearing a lot about this guy, so I'm fascinated, and I would like to read all these. So this one's called Shakespeare's Planet. This one's called City, or just The City. No, City. And this one's supposed to have a dog in it, I think. Really cool. It is some of my favorite booktubers' favorite book, or among them. So I really do want to read this one. Then this one was a total cover buy, but it's got such a neat cover. It's called Worlds Without End. I mean, have you seen anything more spectacularly beautiful, vintage sci-fi vibes? I'll put it on the screen again because it's so cool. This one was a title buy, so it's Cemetery World. Sci-fi mixed with cemetery stuff is 100% my vibe, so I don't even know what it's about, but I know I'm gonna love it, so I kept it. Now, I did read Abraham Merritt recently, Burn Witch Burn. So I got Face in the Abyss. This was again because I just happened to come across them in a store, and I thought I might not see it again very soon, so let's just get it. This is a search for mysterious treasure in the lost jungles of South America leads 4 white adventurers into an undiscovered world beyond time and space, from which there's no escape. This one, total cover by Ellison Wonderland, Harlan Ellison. It's a pun, see? Ellison Wonderland. Huh? You hear it? Okay. So, yeah, I think this is short stories by Harlan Ellison. I'm fascinated by Harlan Ellison. I've read a lot of his short stories, and yeah, maybe I'll go do a deep dive sometime soon in some of them, because he's pretty awesome. Like, his creativity just... Then I found Frankenstein Unbound, a novel by Brian W. Aldiss. Until quite recently, Joe Bodenland had been living in America in the 21st century. Then a time slip hurled him through space to early 19th century Switzerland. Back 200 years, he meets Victor Frankenstein from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So it's gonna be exciting. Okay, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes. Bunch of weird fairy stuff, some speculative things, one of the first Lost World novels. And then he kind of wrote some pulpy stuff. But his son, Adrian, also wrote pulps. Not a lot of people know about his son. But he wrote this book called Tales of Love and Hate. And I got it. I have never seen this anywhere. I'm pretty excited about this one. I want to see what it's like, and if it's anything like his father's writing, it should be good, but yeah, I threw in an Nepo baby in here. This one I got out of pure curiosity. Adventurer, Lover, Rogue, Spy. He was a buccaneer surgeon by Frank G. Slaughter. The cover is extremely pulpy, and then we have a sword fight at the back. I do love a good pirate buccaneer story, and this is pulpy in the best way, I think, based on the cover. So, yeah. Then I have 2 Fritz Leibers. So this one's called The Green Millennium. I came across this, I couldn't let it go. The cover was too great. I didn't think I'd see it again, so I got it. And then this one is called The Silver Eggheads, a headlong riot of hilarious science fiction satire by Fritz Leiber. And again, this cover is phenomenal. This one's called Plunder by Ron Goulart. And you have this very weird reptilian creature. It says, a zombie factory, a mad slasher, lecherous lizards. Is this any way to run a planet? Yeah, I think this deserves a cover thrown on the screen too. Then I got High Adventure Heroic Fantasy by several women in sci-fi called Amazons. And this is a DAW book. I got this on the recommendation of Jake from Pulp Mortem. I trust him a lot, and he recommended this, so I'm gonna read it and maybe even discuss it later on with Jake. So we'll see. Then another one that I got is by Robert Bloch, and it's Feeding on Fear and Gore. The living demons swarm beyond the boundaries of their nightmare world. This got very cool. Monstrous creatures are spawned in the nightmare land of macabre imagination. Has Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft inspired, so it's gonna be kind of gothic and weird. This is another anthology called Futures to Infinity. It's got classic vintage sci-fi people, but it's edited by Sam Moskowitz, which, if you know, it's one of my favorite editors of all time, and he's the first person to ever teach a science fiction class in America. So he knew what he was talking about, and he kind of solidified the academic merit of sci-fi in some ways. And I'll talk about him at length in a future video because I have some stuff coming up. This was a free library find. Ray Bradbury, Timeless Stories for Today and Tomorrow. It was free, so I just took it because I like Ray Bradbury. This one got my attention because it's a Harry Houdini meets Sherlock Holmes story, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini were really good friends. There's a lot of fiction, non-fiction, and movies, and even a TV show about that. And this is called The Adventure of the Ectoplasmic Man, and the cover is phenomenal. It's such a cool vibe. And then Theodore Sturgeon's More Than Human. This is about a bunch of friends who really connect on a very telepathic level. Like, it's kind of weird how connected they are. Like, they shouldn't even know each other, but they do. And that's the vibe I'm getting from the synopsis, so I'm really intrigued. Okay, then I got 3 non-fiction books that fit the occult detective vibe, Victober, spooky stuff, weird tales. So the first one is called Strange Victoriana, and it's tales of the curious, the weird, and the uncanny from our Victorian ancestors. So I think this might be a good crossover between like a non-fiction take on Victober mixed in with weird fiction. So it's definitely my vibe. I'm really excited about it. And then I got this non-fiction book by Lisa Morton calling The Spirits, and this is a history of seances. And if this doesn't vibe well with occult detective fiction October, I don't know what does. This will be so much fun to read, and I'm really hoping to get to it this October. If not, I'll save it for December, but definitely my vibe. And then this one is called Varieties of the Weird Tale, and it's a sort of academic nonfiction book by S.T. Joshi. Joshi's kind of like an independent academic. He's a scholar gone rogue, and his focus is entirely on weird fiction. So I really want to hear his take. I have read a few of his other works on Kindle on weird fiction, the history of weird fiction. He's brilliant. So I'm really excited about this one. And another one that I happened to come across was Dark Entries by Robert Eichmann. Is it Aikman or Eichmann? I'm sure some of you will correct me. I do want to read more of him and his short stories. He fascinates me in many ways, so yeah, got this. And the very last thing I'm going to show you in this haul, at least, are my newest acquisitions from last night. So this is Pulp Review, and this came out in January of 1994, and I think it's Canadian, because at the top it also gives a Canadian price in addition to the American one. It's got a good skeleton, which you know I love, and it's got a Robert T. Howard story in here. Here's what we got. And then the very last one is Pulps, and this is a history of pulps. I think the detective angle, and it's the history of pulps. It came out in 1976 by Tony Goodstone, and he consulted for his research Sam Moskowitz. But my favorite bit is that there's a lot of pulps in color. Yeah, pulps are definitely up my alley. I think I'm gonna really dive deep into a lot of these things, and I like the combination of fiction and non-fiction to bring it all together. So I'm really glad I found this. That's my book haul for the last few months, and there might be some other ones that I got that I didn't bring here because it didn't fit a theme, but they'll come up if I review them. Thank you all very much for watching. Please let me know if you've read any of these, if you're interested in a deep review of one of these in particular. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!